Hello, Sonder fam. Welcome to this amazing social. For those of you that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting before, my name is Bailey, and I will be your facilitator today. And hopefully, you all can hear me okay because these headphones are new, um, and I'm still getting used to them. So hopefully, not too loud and you can hear me and everything is good. But we've got some exciting stuff to dive into. I see lots of familiar names in the chat, so welcome back. Good to be here with all of you and see all of those names popping up. If you're new here, let us know. I promise we don't bite. Quite the opposite. We would love to give you a big warm welcome. If you're brand new, you've got a great group of people here to encourage you as you get started and start diving into the wonderful world that is Silk and Soccer. If you haven't already, or maybe you did while we were getting started, we've got those little fun 3 words of affirmation grid. If you didn't get a chance to really look that over, no worries. This is recorded, so you can always go back and review this later if you need to. Also, that is from the Silk Sonder Instagram. So if you want to check that out there, you can. If you haven't already, make sure that your chat is set to everyone. A lot of the times it defaults to host and panelist, which means it would only be seen by myself and the fabulous Katie. My bestie is here. My bestie's here with me tonight. So if you want to share with the group, which is really the best part of Sonder socials because you get to hang out with all the awesome people, you want to set that to everyone so everyone can see what you have to say. As we go through, feel free to take screenshots, but again, this is recorded. So if you missed something, if you need to go back and re-listen, that recording will be there for you. They're usually up within like a day or less now. They're getting up pretty quick, which is awesome. So, real quick, our community guidelines, as always. Please be kind and courteous to yourself and to others. No promotions or spam, please. We respect everyone's privacy here. And of course, no hate speech or bullying. We wouldn't be a very good community if we allowed any of that nonsense. We do ask that you limit repetitive product and accessory questions, but we just like to be able to stay on topic. We love it when you guys talk about the stickers and all the fun little art supplies and stuff that you like to use in your journals. So we don't mind a little bit of that. And then if there's anything that myself and Katie cannot assist with, like, I don't know, your subscription, you need to change your billing address, your shipping address, your journal didn't show up, anything like that, that we can't help with, we will redirect you to hello@silkandsonder.com. That is the team over at headquarters that will be able to help you with all that stuff. And then finally, Sonder Socials are a tool to help you elevate your emotional health through the power of community, which is all of you. But you are responsible for your own personal emotions, well-being, and decisions. So, said a different way, if something bubbles up tonight that you weren't expecting, either from in the chat or, if it's ever like a prompt or something that we're doing, if you're ready to kind of tackle those like surprise emotions, we would love to support you in that. But if now is not the time, please feel free to take a break, come back to it later, skip it all together. This time is yours, and you do not have to step into anything you're not ready for. So tonight we will have a really fun opening activity. I enjoyed it, so hopefully you guys will too. And then we have the Wheel of Life on page 7 in your July journal, and then the Gratitude Jar on page 13 in your July journal. Now I know it is July 1st. This is the first day of a brand new month. Wow, that's exciting. I don't think I usually get to host stuff on the very first day. Yay. So if you're still waiting on your journal for some reason, don't panic. You can still like jot down ideas. If you have like your June journal or if you have a blank notebook or just something you want to take notes on. So you can still hang out in the chat with us and everything and just get some ideas for when your journal does come in. You can watch this recording if you need to once it comes in. So don't feel like you have to like dip out or leave this if you're waiting on it. No big deal. We would love to still have you here with us. So new month, new theme. Yay. Our theme this month is savoring, and I am excited. I love this theme. I'm so excited about it. 'Cause to me, savoring is just all about being present. And it's just so core to everything that we try to do here at Silk and Sonder. Like, oh, it's just a good theme. I'm really ready for it. And like for the quotes and stuff that I pulled for this, I honestly just went straight to the extra little poems and stuff that are here in the journal. These are on some pages. Sorry, I cropped out the pages and it'll take me too long to flip through and find them again, but they're in there. They're in your journal. We have let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you love or what you truly love. Sorry. from Rumi, which I think is like probably a good follow-up to Flow in a way. And then we have Lingering by Unknown, which says, stay a little longer with the ripe air, with the hum of the bees, with the taste of the sun still on your lips. The day is not in a hurry. Why should we be? And I just think that both of these are a great little way to step into this new theme. We are in peak summer, which means we are like peak way through the year. So it's time for us to kind of do our best to savor. I know a lot of us were talking about how hot it is where we are, so that might be a little bit hard at the moment, depending on what you're trying to do. But before we know it, it'll be freezing, and then we'll have the opposite problem. And so we'll have to just try to do our best to enjoy what we can about the summer. I know I'm not a big fan of the heat personally anymore, but I do like a lot of summer flavors. I like all the like fresh fruits and all the, things that pop up and like yummy lemonades and things like that. I love all the extra light, even if I can't go out and enjoy it because it's literally an oven outside right now. I still get more energy for the longer days. So yes, Lisa, savoring air conditioner, very, very thankful to have that right now for sure. So, but really it truly is just about slowing down, being intentional, being present, and trying not to let life just rush past you. So it's a really great theme for us. And our opening activity is going to help us lean into that as well. So for this, you're going to turn to a blank page or space in your journal. I probably would recommend like a page, I think, but I guess it depends on how big you want your space to be. I'm not good at writing small or drawing small, so I had to have a whole page, but maybe you could do yours in a little space if you're a little more tidy than me. But what you're going to do is you're just going to draw like a simple little curved line across the center of the page, and that is going to represent where the ocean meets the sand. So we're dealing with a beach here, right? And then we're going to build our own personal seashore. And inside the water, we're going to list the things that feel like they're moving too fast in your life right now. Those are the things just sort of washing over you, rushing past you. And then on the sand, you're going to draw 3 or 4 unique seashells or smooth tide pool stones. And inside each shell or stone, name an experience from this past week you want to intentionally pluck out of the current and save. It could be the warmth of a hug, the taste of a specific meal, a moment of quick pride. And then you're going to take your time drawing the texture of those shells, use colored pencils to shade them, decorate them, and make them a reminder of moments you savor. Now, I know some of you are not the artistic type. This is not in your comfort zone. And so when we have these fun little drawing activities, you're like, oh, this isn't for me. But it is though. It is though. So I'm going to show you mine. And I did draw and I referenced the like doodles up in the top right because anytime I draw something that I don't normally draw, I like to have a reference. So I put that up there for you guys because maybe it will help you feel more confident in your doodles and stuff. But if you don't want to draw, you can use stickers. And if you don't have beach themed stickers, that's okay because all kinds of stuff washes up on the beach. So I think you could rifle through your stickers and find some things to wash up on your beach. And you can just write little words around it, or you can just do words. You don't have to draw stuff, maybe they're just words written in the sand or whatever. So don't let that intimidate you. I think that exercise in general is a good one. I know I enjoyed kind of thinking about, I just feel like time is moving so fast. Of course, summer is flying by, I feel like I know it just got here, but also how is it already July? Like meal times in general lately, I feel like I've just been rushing through, whether it's lunch or dinner, it doesn't matter. It's just trying to get sustenance into my face and not actually slowing down and enjoying or savoring it. The weekends are never long enough. I should have put Sonder Socials on here because they're never long enough either. And then my energy and just quality time. But the things that have happened in the last 7 days is what the prompt says. But of course, you can go back a little further or use a different time period if you need to. That I want to like pluck out and say from the current is my last Dagger Heart session with my friends, which is like a game that we all play together. It was kind of like finishing a really long book series. It was sad. I didn't want to say goodbye to the characters. And then the Firefly Nights. I want to definitely slow down and savor those while they're here. Connecting with a new friend last weekend. I had a pool day with other friends. And soon it will not be pool day season. And sharing a meal at our favorite local spot. And then a productive therapy session. So those are the things that I wanted to like pluck out. Yes, Marissa, this is my first time playing it through this campaign, but it was 9 months long, so we did pretty good. So yeah, those are my things. I will hop back to the prompt here. Sorry, whenever I click away from the slides to chat with you all, it doesn't like to go backwards. That's okay. I'll hop back and forth between those slides for you so that you can look at this prompt and you can also see that little reference doodle. Definitely share in the chat with us what those waves are, what you feel like is rushing past you, and those things that you want to kind of pluck out and be intentional about saving. Yeah, and then I'm going to put on some music for you, and then we'll move into our next activity together. Have fun. Okay. Thank you all for taking some time to work on your beaches, get them started. If you're still working on them, that's okay. You may have some time to work on it some within this social, even depending on what you want to do with your other stuff that we're going to talk about today. I would love to see your beaches and Sonder Club if you feel comfortable posting them. I do not care what your seashells look like. I don't care what kind of beach treasures you put on there if they're not seashells. I want to see everybody's beaches. So if you would like to share those, I want to see them. We are now going to hop over to page 7. Yes, Katie said maybe we can discover some new species. Katie, you may have to name them with your background in the marine biologyness for all of us. She can help us come up with super cool names for our new species. We're gonna hop over to page 7 for the Wheel of Life. Yay, it's back. For those of you that are new, or maybe you're new-ish, like this may be your first Wheel of Life with Sylph and Sonder. It pops up every couple of months in the journal. And the reason that it does is because this is something that you kind of want to check in with yourself periodically every couple of months or so. It's just a good little pulse check. This is not an indication of like how good something is in your life or how not good something is in your life. It just kind of lets you look at what's going on in your world with some balance and do a little pulse check, do a little check in with yourself. So the way that this page works is that you've got 10 categories there at the top. So the pre-printed categories are career, financial, personal growth, spiritual, health, fun and leisure, romance, family and friends, community, and home environment. However, if you need to change any of those, if you need to skip any of those, do so. Feel free to change it. Feel free to skip it. This is your journal. It is your wheel. It is your wheel of your life. So you can change this however you need to. But the way that the wheel is laid out, just using what's pre-printed currently as an example, is number one is career. And then if you look at that little wheel there, we've got a slice there in the center that says one, and then it's got lines. And there are 10 lines there. And what this is asking you to do is to think about each of these categories and ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how fulfilled do you feel in this category? Not how accomplished, not how good, but fulfilled. How fulfilled do you feel in these categories? Fulfillment is subjective. Only you can decide that, right? Which is why I would also encourage you to make sure that you're checking in with you and how fulfilling something feels, not what you think it should look like, because somebody else says it should look like that. This is about your experience. Um, and you get to kind of color in the wheel, filling in the lines that correspond to the number that you rank yourself in fulfillment here. So it might make a little bit more sense when you see an example. So here's mine. So I went through the different pre-printed categories here, and then I gave myself a little rating, and I just did the little rating by putting the dot where it was on the little lines there. So for example, for career, I ranked myself as feeling an 8 out of 10 in fulfillment to my career right now. So that's where I put my little dot. And then I moved to the next category, did the same thing. And then I just colored in the space and then connected the little dots. And then once you do that, the next thing it's going to ask you is to write down one way you can increase your level of fulfillment in any or all of these sections using that little line over there to the right of that category. So I did that. And then after I did that, I kind of noticed a theme. For me, I had very much a theme of like intentional planning because like with family and friends, I said, oh, I could have more in-person time. With romance, I said like plan date nights, fun and leisure, be more intentional, right? Like there's all these things that in order to create more fulfillment, I need to be intentional about trying to plan a little bit better. Um, so some other ways that you could approach this, you could use savor as your grounding for this instead of fulfillment. I don't always recommend leaning on a theme with the Wheel of Life, because it is something that's going to come up every couple months. And as you'll see in some of our examples, sometimes Sometimes it's good to be able to use something consistent so you can kind of see changes over time. But I do think that savoring or savor um, lends itself well to this because it is all about like being present and thinking about where you are right now in this moment of life, which is also kind of what this wheel is asking you to do. So if that resonates a little bit better with you than like fulfillment, like how present do you feel in an area? Maybe try asking it that way instead of asking how fulfilled and see how that sits with you. You can also try just spending a few minutes free writing and thinking about these areas, either before you actually give them a rating or after. You could circle like your bottommost areas and think about how you could bring intention there. You could circle the top areas and ask yourself, like, why does this rank so high? And sometimes it's just the season that we're in. Like your wheel of life is going to change over time. It's not always going to look super balanced. It's going to look all over the place and wonky, and it's meant to change and flow with your life, which is why this is also not a measure of good or bad or success or not. It just is a pulse check of where you are right now. So here are some other examples. One other popular thing that some folks like to do is do one at the beginning of the month and the end of the month. So if you do that, you could divide your little slices here in half and have a beginning and end. Again, it does come up every couple months in the journal too. So if you want to give it a longer period of time, it'll be back, I promise. But this is a really great example of that at the beginning of the month and the end of the month. This is an example of somebody's wheel of life, the last three times that it's shown up and how it has changed over time. So you can see in that 10 category, like they feel very fulfilled every single time that they check in there. And like their 7 is like very fulfilled, usually like 10 or a 9, right? But some of those smaller areas that really they didn't feel a lot of fulfillment in at all have now like expanded and grown. And so they've been able to kind of see that growth over time, which is part of what makes this really cool. These are really old examples, but they're both mine. And you can see that the categories have actually changed a little bit over time. Like, for example, we used to have like adventure as a category, and now we have like fun and leisure instead. So, like, Silk and Sauter has changed these categories up a little bit up over time. So, again, if you need to change that up over time, feel free. You can definitely see how my wheel has changed and fluctuated over time. Some other category ideas that might speak to you are knowledge or learnings. Education used to be a category, and I think that's gone now. So you could put that back up there if that speaks to you. Time in nature, your online environment. That could be what are you actually consuming when you're online? What does your like social media content look like? Are you doing a lot of doom scrolling, or have you like switched your feed to like joy scrolling? I think Maya's talked about that in some previous socials about trying to curate your algorithms to something that brings happiness and not stress. How much time are you spending online? Do you feel like there's enough balance there, right? Again, you could decide to change one of these categories to like savor or your presence, like how you feel, how often you feel like you're being present in the moment. Mindset, I know we have fun and leisure, but I think play lands a little bit differently because sometimes I think fun and leisure, we're like, oh yeah, travel, hanging out with friends, whatever. But then when I say play, you're like, oh, my hobbies, like playing games, like, it does something a little bit different to our brains, I think. So you could consider adding play in there. You could put adventure back up there. You could put vision. I think we had a vision board. What was it? Last month? I did the social, so I should know, but time is flying by, y'all. So if it wasn't last month, it was the month before. So you could kind of check in with yourself on that. You could do hobbies, mental health, self-care, any of that good stuff. And then here are some other examples. So this person here on the left, instead of putting their one thing in the blank space here, they put their ranking there. And then they kind of did their journaling in the little slices. And then that looks pretty cool how that turned out. I like that. And then here's an example of somebody who did change one of those categories on their wheel, which is pretty cool. Oop, too far. Spoiler alert, we're doing the gratitude jar too. It wasn't in the title of the social or anything. So I'll hop back through all of these slides for you all. If you have questions, if you feel stuck, if you need ideas, post in the chat. We're here to help you. Katie and I are here to help, but so are your fellow Sonder fam. Again, this comes up every couple of months, and so hopefully it's something that most of us are familiar with, or maybe this is the page in your journal that you haven't done before. And now today is going to be the day that you're finally going to do it and you're going to tackle it. So if you need some support, if you need some ideas, post in the chat. We would love to help you brainstorm. And then also just put in the chat with us like what's coming up for you. If you want to go back and grab some of those journals with the Wheel of Life too, and kind of compare after you complete this one, share in Sonder Club, like what that growth looks like. We'd love to see that. So I'm going to put on some music and then we'll come back to do our next activity. Thank you all for spending some time with this Wheel of Life. And I'm so proud of you for those of you that are giving this a try again. I know several of you mentioned you don't usually do this, like you totally skip it because you feel like it doesn't feel good, right, when you do it. But some of you are trying to change the categories and see if that switches things up. And so I'm very proud of you for giving that a try. We are now hopping into our last activity, which is our gratitude jar on page 13. So typically in your journal, you're going to have either a gratitude log or a gratitude jar. This month we have a jar, um, which is a little bit more like free form, which means you can do a little bit more with it maybe than you would think about doing with a log. Now, I have gratitude as one of my daily habits in my habit wheel. So I still plan on writing something in here every day, which you could also do. Or you can turn this into a doodling space. You can color, use pictures or stickers. You can make it fun and give it a theme or keep it simple. Just be true to yourself with it. You could also just treat it like a journal prompt and list like a lot of gratitude all at once. So if you're somebody that's like, oh, I love gratitude and like I know how good it is as a practice, but like I struggle to do it every day. The jar is for you because you can literally just carve out some time, put in a whole bunch of stuff into that jar, and then call that your gratitude for the month, and it's still a good gratitude exercise. You can also think about things you want to spend time savoring this month, thinking about that opening activity that we did, about things that we want to be fully present in and way, because that can be a really good way of practicing gratitude. So here's what I'm doing with my jar. So, like I said, I'm still going to write something out every day. I also am using the sleep tracker that is on the page just to the left of this for prompts because I did that last month with the gratitude log and I really enjoyed it. I got these prompts by chatting with Jenny, who is a part of the Silk and Sonder AI Life Coach program. And I was just like, hey, I want to come up with 31 prompts of gratitude that are kind of like centered around savoring. And I didn't like use everything that she gave me, but the ones that I didn't use made me think of other ones that I hadn't thought of. So that's how I'm doing mine. I'm not gonna lie, doing a little progress over perfection here because you can see my lines in my jar are not perfect. Guess what? My gratitude doesn't care what my lines look like. It just cares that I do them. So it's gonna be fine. And it's in pen, so I can't do anything about it anyway. It's too late. Here are some other examples of the gratitude jar. You could decide to put like a nice quote in there and turn it into like a doodling exercise. I think that that can be a really great way to reflect on something really specific and like think about the gratitude that that quote or song lyric or whatever you want to pull in there makes you feel. You could do some doodles in there and still just like write little stuff in there, like this jar of lemonade that is super cute. You can decide to do something on theme with the season, like this jar with the fireflies. It also just has stuff like written in there, and then there are just some fireflies, and then the empty space is colored in between. This one over on the right-hand side, their handwriting is beautiful. That is art all by itself. So if you are like a hand lettering person, go for it. I don't think you need to do any doodles. That is beautiful. That's amazing. That's art all by itself. So you can decide to turn your words into art, maybe if you're a little bit more of a words person. And then here we have some other fun little vibes. We got, I think, maybe some iced tea, or maybe it's lemonade. I like to think of it as iced tea because I'm in Tennessee and we drink a lot of iced tea here. So somebody wrote their gratitude things in the ice inside their jar here. And then I also like this one that has just little doodles kind of incorporated in between there. So there are your ideas of how to set up your jar. Again, if you're like me and you want to do it every day, then maybe you want to go back to that opening activity because you're like, I'm just going to randomly write something in there. And that's perfectly fine for you to do that. So if that's you, feel free to go back to the open activity and do the little bit more. Oh, wait, that's right. Katie's saving me. I had one more page of examples. Thank you, Katie. She sent me a private message and was like, wait, you have your other one. Um, so obviously you could do like pictures and stickers and stuff over there on the right. And then this one on the left is another kind of like word art one. I love word art. But the one in the center is like really different and cool. So this person took like a plastic, part of a plastic bag. I think maybe it was a like a Ziploc bag, and they actually like taped it onto their journal, and then they made it to where they can actually put little things like it's a real jar. So you could also do that. So yeah, y'all thank Katie because I was about to forget to show you guys that. So thank you, Katie. Okay, now I'm gonna go back through all these different examples for you. Yes, and put on music. And you will let us know how you're setting up your jars, what your plan is, if you're going with a theme, what the theme is. We want to see it all. And when you get those jars done, whether it's today or a week from now or at the end of the month, we would love to see those. So have fun. I'm going to put on some music and then we'll close out together. Well, if you can believe it, that's going to wrap up our time together. It always goes by way too fast in these socials, but here we are every single time, right? Thank you all so much for being here with us this evening. Katie and I love spending this time with all of you and working on these super fun pages. I feel like it was a really good pairing of opening activities and like the pages in the journal tonight. It was just all really fun. So thank you all so much for being here and spending this time with yourself, spending it with each other. We would love to see your pages in Sonder Club whenever you get them completed and you feel comfortable sharing them. We always love to see those. And as you saw, like, yes, I had some examples of my own, but all those other examples came from all of you in Sonder Club. So we love being able to see what you share and also being able to share them with everybody else because you all have the most amazing ideas. So thank you all so much. I did mention utilizing Jenny, who is part of the chat feature of Silk and Sonder's personalized life coach, to set up my gratitude prompts. So if you haven't tried them out yet, Katie will throw some links in the chat that can help you do that. And then I will also post my playlist links in the chat. So I just have like three giant playlists. It's like one big master playlist, one big master of instrumentals only, and one big master of vocals. But you all are welcome to check those out, pull songs from them, make your own playlist, do whatever it is you want to do with them. I think the instrumental one has got like several hours of songs on there now, so you could just play it and put it on and forget about it if you want to. So again, Katie and I really appreciate all of you spending your evening with us and spending time in your journals. This is truly the best community ever. And until next time, we hope that you all feel be good to each other, and we'll see you all in Thunder Club. Bye.
Can't keep my hands to myself.